Washington.
And you're watching the Pac-12 Network.
Welcome back to the campus of the University of Arizona Pac-12 Beach Volleyball Championships at Bear Down Beach, as they call it here in Tucson. The 2 and 3 seeds of this tournament, the Arizona Wildcats facing the UCLA Bruins. This is the championship bracket, the winner's bracket, as you take a look at it. Both of these teams with wins earlier today over Washington and California, respectively. This is the first of the winner's bracket matches to advance. USC and Arizona State will be coming up later tonight. Hey everybody, thank you for joining us again here on Pac-12 Network. I'm Anne-Marie Anderson alongside three-time beach volleyball Olympian Holly McPeak. And Holly, let's just talk first about the one pairs. 2 sets of identical twins help
matching
us.
Up
yeah,
across
facing
each other, and boy, are they identical. There's one little small factor on the UCLA side. One's right-handed, one's left-handed, but for the most part, completely identical. It's going to be a challenge. Thank God they're wearing numbers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 2 really talented squads. And that just leads up 2 deep programs. Both Arizona and UCLA have been building terrific programs for years.
UCLA has had the best season ever. They've got tons of depth. And then Arizona making the NCAA tournament last year with a 20-plus win season. Both programs moving in the right direction.
Well, let's start with seeing a double. McNamara is on the near side, and Nicole and Megan, one of them, as we talked about it, is a lefty. Nicole she's number 13. On the other side, the Doublemint twins themselves, the Wits, with an ace to start things off. Holly, take us through the rules.
Double elimination, 5 matches of pairs. The best 3 of 5 wins the match. All 5 matches play at the same time, so it's pretty exciting. We watch them all the way down the line. Sets 1 and 2 to 21 points, win by 2. If a set 3 is necessary to 15 points, again, you have to win by 2.
All right, we're going to return to the action on court 1, and let's break it down, because these 2 pairs to me really exemplify beach volleyball and the difference from the indoor game. These are not very tall athletes. These are really quick and smooth athletes.
Well, if you're talking Nicole McNamara and Megan McNamara, they're only 5'9". They play big. They maximize every inch of their game. They jump well. They're aggressive. Their ball control is fantastic. The Wits are 5'11" and 6 feet, so they're a pretty good size, and they're very dynamic and explosive athletes.
In terms of blocking, we often talk about a bigger and a smaller combination. That's not the situation here. Both of these teams split block?
No, the McNamara split block, but for Madison and McKenna, you see one primary blocker, and that's Madison Witt, number 23. She will run to the net and do all the blocking.
Madison and McKenna Witt, cut from their middle school volleyball team. Steve Walker plucked them from an indoor tournament and got them interested in beach volleyball. When they finish their beach eligibility here, they are seniors. They'll return to the indoor game at Cal Baptist in Riverside, California.
They wanted to go to graduate school and get it paid for, and that was a good opportunity. But I think their future after that on the beach is very bright. They're 2 fantastic athletes with great outlooks, great attitudes, and work ethics.
Same can be said for the McNamaras. UCLA, Stein Metzger, the head coach of UCLA, has said of the McNamaras, they set the tone for our program. 18-3 record as partners this season, and they are the hardest workers on the UCLA sand. That's a great thing for Stein Metzger.
And you have to be. When you're 5'9" and you're playing all these big teams, you have to excel at your ball control, your strategy, and how you take care of game planning and how you attack your opponents.
One of the changes in the McNamaras this year, we talked about Nicole being a lefty, Megan right. Last year, Nicole wore tape on that left shoulder, made things pretty easy to remember which one was a lefty. No more. Numbers are mirror images of each other, too.
The McNamara twins have worked on getting stronger in the gym, more hand setting, and they feel like they're more healthy. You don't see the tape on the shoulder because they're stronger and that shoulder pain is gone. On the other side of the net, Madison and McKenna Witt have worked on a more diverse offense and defense, so running a variety of sets, and their challenge has been minimizing errors and knowing when to use those plays and when just to keep it safe. There you see the beautiful dive into the angle by Madison with the blocker on the Witt or Arizona side of the net.
Even though the McNamaras are sophomores, the Witts seniors, they've been playing beach volleyball almost the same amount of time. The Witts didn't really play sand before they got to college. The McNamaras discovered the sport in Mexico at age 12 and were winning internationally before they even got to UCLA, a bronze medal on their 17th birthday in Portugal for the Canadian U19 team.
One of the interesting facts is the new or first-year assistant coach for Arizona is the international Canadian coach who trains the McNamaras when they're representing Canada. Her name is Kira Ayanone, and you'll see her. She's on the bench with Madison and McKenna, and Kira obviously knows the game of the McNamara as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how they match up and how they try and pick apart the McNamaras.
The ball control, I mean, you can just tell between these two teams, the level and the ball control, so significant, even though the wind is still gusting.
Madison and McKenna are being very aggressive. They're on the better side with the wind in their face, and they really wanted to make a switch up, but they are switching to the bad side, down by 2.
On court 2, Yeomans and Tan with a 1-point lead over Halloran and McDonald.
That must be strange for the McNamaras to see their international coach coaching the other team on the other side of the net.
Strange, disheartening, I don't know, we'll see. Knowing they know all our secrets, knowing they better be original. And how about the big block from Nicole McNamara?
I love it. Nicole McNamara at 5'9", she jumps well, but it's how you use your hands over the net. She seals the net, big push over. She was a little surprised by that block as well.
Stein-Metzger said of the McNamaras, they took their lumps last year. They were the ones for UCLA, and they were playing against juniors and seniors all season long. They make great decisions. Up again, Nicole.
You see the placement and the accuracy from both Nicole and Megan McNamara. They've played this game, the way they control the ball, the way they make hand contact. Stein-Metzger talked about the size of their hands. They have really big hands, and they make good hand contact on the ball. That allows you to control the ball better.
Of course, the McNamara is big beach volleyball fans as well, and one of the things that Megan McNamara says is that she loves how Stein-Metzger can just jump on the court without warming up, and she said, and just crush us, because he's such an incredible athlete. She says she has a lot of respect for his game. Why not? An Olympian.
He's so passionate about the sport. He's obviously an Olympian, a longtime pro, and yeah, he can go out and demo. He has been in the same place they are, so he shares his experience with the athletes. You see him on the left on the AVP Tour, in the middle on the F5VB, and then again it looks like the AVP Tour, but what a great competitor. He was so fun to watch.
He was, and he also won an indoor championship with UCLA, and it was interesting talking with Kevin Wong, our colleague, about him, because Stein was one of his setters. Michael Seeley was another, and he said Stein was very much going by feel. He said it was, Michael Seeley was kind of by the book, and you knew where it was going to go, and sometimes Stein would just feel it, kind of surprise you with a set. It would always be great. Won NCAA championships, Kevin Wong did, with both Michael Seeley and Stein-Metzger. Such
a great dynasty at UCLA for men's volleyball and women's volleyball too. A great volleyball tradition at UCLA.
Certainly, you won an NCAA championship indoor at UCLA, and with UCLA being the second-ranked team in the country in beach for much of the year, you see this program getting to the point where they're challenging for the NCAA title quickly, soon, maybe next weekend.
Stein-Metzger has done a fantastic job recruiting the right types of athletes to really elevate the program. He's got a slew of fantastic recruits coming in the next couple of years, and he's really maximizing every player on his roster right now.
Every time they hit middle now, I have that saying in my head. And we've worked together for like 10 years, and I hadn't heard that till this week. But every time as you watch the Witts pound it, Wynn and Avital hit the middle.
Well, you have two players splitting the entire court, so somebody can't stand in the middle, or there's going to be a large area of the court open. So it makes sense.
It does make sense. I just could have used that a lot earlier had you shared that with the general public and not just your Marine Street friends. Good swing by Nicole McNamara.
Out of system, way off the net. Nicole McNamara rips it cross court.
McNamara is trailing by 5 as Steve Walker, head coach of this program. Passionate about this program. 4th year as Arizona head coach, spent 10 years with the indoor program before that.
And all the athletes who play for him says he is so passionate about our volleyball program and making us better every day. He's almost like nerdy in terms of the details because he really wants this team to compete at the highest level.
Steinmetzger talking to the McNamaras, the Pac-12 pair of the week. Nicole and Megan just leading this UCLA team. So successful at Sunset Canyon Beach volleyball courts. They won 18 straight. They had a 4-match win streak coming into the tourney. And, you know, Steinmetzger told you and I at the very beginning of the year, you know, if we can get on a roll, we can do this, even though they had 5 freshmen playing amongst their 10 players.
It's interesting. You see these 2 sets of identical twins, you know, facing each other. They've both grown up in the same situation. You're with your best friend. They're both very tight in terms of pairs. You've got a built-in partner for life. It's interesting.
At the same time, though, the McNamaras have said, you know, sometimes it can be tough. I mean, you don't have that filter that you have with your friends. And so Sean Fallowfield, an assistant for UCLA, who they jokingly refer to as the couples therapist, has worked with them saying, you know, you got to make sure you have a filter because this is your partner and you want to make sure that you're gentle at the right times.
Correct. I think you're going to be a little more rough on your twin sister as opposed to some random stranger that you've been paired up with.
Now, you're a twin as well, and
yes.
you played with your brother recreationally.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You're an Olympian. Gary is not. Were you a little rougher on him, do you think?
We were very rough on each other. When we played together, we would, both of us wanted to win more than anything, so we pushed each other, and then we stopped playing together.
And so now you're just great friends.
Yes, and we support each other.
You sure do. I know that about you guys. The McNamara is just over the block.
The execution by the McNamaras, the way they pass and set and move together, see the block, and then just a little touch shot over the block. It's just fun to see them execute at such a high level.
Get up!
The Wits have the size advantage at the net, but a couple sets have been too tight, and McNamaras are just really pushing over and sealing the net and winning those tight balls.
Passing straight on. Or the poke.
Well executed back sets by Madison and McKenna, finding an opening.
I also find it interesting that Steve Walker says of the Wits the same thing, that nobody works harder in Arizona's program than these two. And when you have your leaders, your ones, the hard-working sisters and teams, it sets the tone for the rest of the program.
It certainly does.
Madison's a former indoor and middle blocker. Madison, which she's number 23, the one blocking there in the middle. Never passed much, though. McKenna picks that up. Madison there, well off the net, just adding a little heat. Off the tape, score, McNamara.
Good back and forth by both teams. Hook it, McKenna, lay it out once, twice, just keeps it alive. Just unable to get a good swing to score that point for Arizona.
She's getting horizontal, even though that's Steinmetzger saying it's the Wildcats getting horizontal. McKenna Witt, the right-hander, Doug.
Good dig by Nicole McNamara, the lefty, but from the left side, unable to score that point in transition. I feel like the Witt twins attack more in terms of like attacking at the defender instead of hitting the open spot more like the McNamaras.
And the Wits have been known to use to their advantage anything that they can. I mean, that's what you have to do. And the fact that they are so incredibly identical. They've used it at times. They call it twin problems when they played April Ross and Carrie Walsh. Madison, I think it was, had an ab problem, and so they made sure their hair was the same, everything looked the same except different sunglasses. They were very strategic, switched sunglasses back and forth after a while. April Ross saying they got really better than when we were serving, and then they figured it out.
Yeah, hey, use everything you can to your advantage. And at the pro level, you don't have to wear a number unless you're international, so it's harder to tell twins apart. Yeah,
Carrie Walsh and April Ross telling us, we said, wait, do you think they're switching glasses? And sure enough, asking them afterwards, and Madison and McKenna said, hashtag twin problems. We had to do what we wanted and what we needed. Wow, beautiful cut and crunch from McKenna Witt. One of the areas of improvement that the Witt twins have worked on, both McKenna and Madison, a much more aggressive serve this year, really trying to score points and get teams in trouble off their serve, and it's been paying off this match. And court 2 tied up at 19 apiece. Court 4, UCLA with a significant lead. But the one pairs, well, it's a close one. 2-point lead for the McNamaras over the Witts. Double trouble, seeing double. Sean Fallowfield, the couples therapist for UCLA, just on the next court, watching as that serve goes a little bit long.
And it's a change of sides. The Madison and McKenna for Arizona will switch to the better side. The wind seems to be dying. It was very windy earlier, but seems to be less of a factor now.
McKenna Witt serving as Arizona's Witts trail by 1. The forwards, Anderson and Carey of UCLA, with a set 1 win over Mason, and Burling. Up and long.
Madison Witt wanted that. She went up so aggressive, and usually her arm swing is so fast, just did not watch her hand hit the ball, missed it long.
Going after McKenna. No one on, goes and splits the defense.
I love that. Down the middle, there's no block in front of her. Perfect execution, deep middle.
Again, Witts trailing by 1 as they near the end of set number 1. Madison back to serve. What perfect execution. The lefty with the cut.
Nicole McNamara and Megan McNamara, they're so disciplined with their feet, how they move, how they approach the ball. It looks like they're going to hit every single time, and so the defense has to honor that, and then they can chop it around or hit. Really keeps the defense guessing.
But put back the other way. It remains set point UCLA, but the Witts trying to stem the tide. McKenna serving. The lefty up to hit, turns it the other way.
Do you see that approach? It looks like she's going to crank it, sharp angle, really holds the defender in the angle, and then she just goes short over the line. The court vision is great for the McNamara sisters.
A win in set 1 for the McNamaras. Let's take a look over at court 2 as the set is tied up at 21 apiece. Extra points.
And this is a big match for Maddie Yeomans and Camila Tan at UCLA because they lost. They were the one UCLA team to lose the earlier match. So they're trying to get some positive mojo going on their side of the court. Up by 1 point here.
They're facing the Olivias, Little Liv and Big Liv, Halloran and McDonald. Talking, sets drifting. Yeomans. Camila Tan, the more experienced Bruin. Pounding away goes.
Long rally. They had the score flipped on our scoreboard, and we just went to that court, but Olivia's hold on to win that one for Arizona.
Halloran and McDonald, a set 1 win for the two pairs.
Olivia McDonald from New Zealand, big win for them.
Well, let's see in double trouble here on Bear Down Beach. Wits versus McNamara, set 2 coming up next.
You're watching Pac-12.
Pac-12 Network.
Pac-12 Beach Volleyball is brought to you by State Farm. Get to a better state. Beautiful day in Arizona. The Wildcats and the Bruins in the winner's bracket pounding away at each other. This is the Pac-12 Beach Volleyball Championship. 5 courts of action all happening at the same time. So much good volleyball to choose from, but we're going to head over to the 4 pairs. We have not checked in on them yet. Jordan Anderson and Izzy Carey of UCLA against Mia Mason and Brooke Burling of Arizona. Set number 1 went to UCLA, but great skill and shows the depth of these programs that the 4 pairs are so talented.
Jordan Anderson, a standout player on the indoor team for UCLA, has really worked hard, done whatever it takes to move up the ranks in playing with Izzy Carey, who is so steady. Izzy Carey, number 30 for UCLA, 1 loss on the season. She has been dominant with whoever she's played.
On the other side, Mason and Burling, a tough first set, a 21-13 set.
This is a new team. Mia Mason, Brooke Burling, both are defensive players. Mia Mason, the bigger of the two, and they're just brand new together, 2 weeks. There were some injuries up in the higher pairs, and that put them together.
I mean, this is team adversity, though, when we talk about things off the court for Arizona. Brooke Burling, born with nerve damage in both ears. She wears a hearing aid, and Mia Mason overcame a terrible story when she was 12.
At age 12, she was diagnosed with brain cancer and had the surgery and chemo and, had to learn how to walk again and felt sick every morning for 2 years, but never gave up. And, she really wants to help in that area, pediatric cancer, help give back. She raises money every year through a walk. And I actually rode for her team at the Tour de Pier in Manhattan Beach, trying to raise money to support finding a cure for cancer.
Yeah, pediatric brain cancer, of course, Bridget Gustafson of Cal and their 5 pairs also has a foundation of that. We should make sure that they meet each other. I don't know if they know each other.
They should network.
We need to make sure that happens. They both have the same passion. As Mia Mason survived pediatric brain cancer, and Bridget Gustafson lost her twin brother to the disease and now is trying to find a cure. Anderson setting. Jordan Anderson did not start the year as a starter for UCLA Beach. She got an opportunity and doesn't let go.
Long rally, that ball bumped out, but I'll tell you, Arizona fighting hard, scrambling, extending this UCLA team in long rallies. Izzy Carey talked about Jordan Anderson. She said, you know what? Jordan Anderson wasn't in the top 5 pairs. She was getting people's water. She was shagging. She was cheering louder than anybody on the whole squad. And she's a standout star indoor. She didn't need to do anything.
She's a star.
And she did it and made herself valuable to the team, and it was improving in the sand at the meantime. And she's had a very successful run at 4s for UCLA with Izzy Carey.
Yeah, and talking about Anderson, number 20 for UCLA, she didn't even start playing volleyball until age 15. She was a soccer star for 13 years. When I asked her kind of what made her decide to switch, she was very cerebral. She said, I thought I had a better scholarship opportunity with indoor volleyball. They had more scholarships, and so she was going after that. Played for West Virginia when they had a coaching change. Came in, played for Michael Seeley, and was an immediate impact player.
Jordan Anderson has one of the best arm swings I have ever seen. She's not, oversized or anything. She jumps well, but she can hit angles that nobody hits. Down the line, sharp angle. Both you and I think our mouths were open in awe multiple times during the indoor season. So it's fun to see her having success. She's such a fantastic athlete for UCLA.
Meanwhile, Mason and Burling keeping it close in set number 2. They, of course, want to take set 2, force Anderson and Carey to a 3rd set. This is Mason serving. Daughter of Arizona athletes, a legacy player, if you will. Mom played volleyball, father played basketball here. We're both Wildcats.
Yeah, Janine Sharp or Janine Sharp Mason. Mia's mom was a volleyball player while I was competing, and then Harvey Mason was a basketball and now a very successful music producer. Brother Trey played basketball at Arizona his first few years and now is applying for his next step in life. He's going to be going to law school. So that's an exciting new chapter for a former student athlete. Mia Mason pops that down the middle for an ace.
Tied up 9 apiece. She again goes, tries to split. Carey takes the ball. Anderson set, rock solid. Anderson up early.
Arizona just touching so many balls defensively, they just can't turn those digs into points. And Jordan Anderson, Izzy Carey are relentless. Izzy Carey's had to kind of make the adjustment. This is her first time she's been a full-time defender, and she's loving playing behind Jordan Anderson.
Anderson pulling off to the angle. One of the toughest skills to learn going indoor to beach.
Just decision making. She probably should not have dropped on that ball, and the hitter saw her. Anytime the ball's tight to the net, you want to stay and block for the most part.
Lift it. With you. Come on, get up.
Poking.
Over line. Come on in. Lift.
Cut across. Anderson sets Carey. Blocker coming off.
And there you see Izzy Carey laying it out and transitioning. She's got such a good hand. Not only can she hit the ball, but she moves the ball around the entire court for UCLA.
Anderson and Carey with a 1-point lead. And so while they're taking a break, let's pop over to court number 3. Manley and Devon for Arizona versus Van Winden and Zappia for UCLA. And immediately a pounding away. Manley and Devon of Arizona have known each other since they were 14, been playing together for 5 years.
Both players from San Diego, and they grew up and playing together on the beach, and good chemistry. They like to strategize. They understand the game of beach volleyball, but so do their opponents. Tori Van Winden, I've been waiting for her to come to college and play beach volleyball for a long time, number 10 in blue. It's 6'3". She's from Napa, but she grew up playing the sport. Her mom, a former beach volleyball pro, and then Elise Zappia, one of the hardest working players on the UCLA team, number 34. Solid defender, works hard all summer long to really represent UCLA well on the court during the season.
UCLA and Arizona are really showing their 2 and 3 seed in terms of nobody being incredibly dominant in this. Some courts you go to, Arizona's got the upper hand. Second set, Devon and Manley with a 5-point lead.
Up by 5, yeah. Van Winden Zappia started the first set strong, a little lull in the second set, but look for them to try and finish in 2. You don't want to get into a third set if you don't have to.
Coming behind, Van Winden pulling off. Nice up from Zappia.
Good dig to her left side, Elise Zappia, just trying to keep that ball in play, hitting it long.
Devon and Manley, according to Steve Walker, the second best team in terms of chemistry on Arizona's squad behind the identical twin Witt sisters at 1. Just feels like they have a really nice connection because they've played together for so long.
And Sam Manley actually played with Olivia McDonald last year. But the chemistry between these two players, Devlin at 6'2", and Sam Manley, a pretty good-sized defender, has been really good. And the experience on their side of the net, that always helps.
No one on. Sometimes the poke will work, and Devlin does just that.
Tori Van Winden dropped off the net too early. She needs to stay and watch the set before she decides to drop. And I think she should have actually dropped the other way into the short part of the court.
Steinmetzger will say of Zappia, she can carve you like a Thanksgiving turkey. Likes her chop shot, has great partnership skills.
Sam Manley digging balls for Arizona, but unable to transition that ball for a kill. Arizona keeping the ball on Elise Zappia, the smaller of the two players.
poke deep.
I call that owning the net. Tori Van Winden owning the net. Anything tight, you go up and get. Tori Van Winden at 6'3". If she's pressing over, she can cut off a lot of angles as a blocker.
Now, somebody like Van Winden, who took so many swings indoors, she was a contender for Conference Freshman of the Year. Now she's playing on the threes, getting a lot of swings. Is there any concern in terms of rest, relaxation, as she's going to head back in and be a big part of the indoor season again?
Nice long rally. Zappia puts it away. I definitely think no break is tough. Tori Van Winden actually had to go for 2 weeks, go back with the indoor team just like last week, and was off the beach. So that's a tough challenge to go back and forth in the middle of your beach season when you're trying to win an NCAA title for UCLA.
Yeah, not every program will let you split time. UCLA is beach only, by the way, but UCLA still shares some of the players. Meanwhile, let's return to double trouble. The McNamaras and the Wits on court number 1. McNamara's won set number 1 in a very close set. Set 2 a little more open, a 6-point lead for the McNamaras.
Well, when we were watching earlier, the McNamaras were just so strategic in the way they controlled the ball. They passed and set so well. The defense never knew where they were going. They were never out of system.
Just following along. The chase is on.
Little too aggressive during that rally to set the ball to the net, but it's so windy. You want to push your partner towards the net. That ball just took off her. Look at this outstretched arm of Madison at the net to keep that alive, and this ball just a little too aggressive. Megan can't get there.
5-point lead, service error by Madison puts it back up to 6 points. McNamara's win this set. They will put the first point of the duel on the board for the Bruins. Nicole McNamara unloads down the line.
Good spread of the offense by Arizona. They really moved Madison out wide, opening up the defense, going high line for the Arizona kill.
And Madison and McKenna serving. There you see both Nicole and Megan McNamara's mouths moving. They were talking, ready to receive serve.
Yes, McKenna Witt just hit a nice floater that dropped out for the ace. I meant the bottom dropped out.
They're making Nicole handle every first ball. Block by Madison. McKenna. Lead has been cut from 6-3.
Good push over the net by Madison, the blocker for Arizona. She pushes her hands, sealing that line shot that Nicole's been hitting so well.
Now trailing by 3. Megan receives serve on this one. And 2 consecutive blocks by Madison Witt.
McNamara is frustrated, calling a timeout, going to sit in the box, going to regroup with a 2-point lead.
And there is no coach on that court right now. Stein Metzger starts running over to talk with his players. That's one of the challenges of this format, 5 across. You don't have a coach for every court.
Most programs only have 3 volleyball coaches on the staff, so 2 of the 5 are coachless.
Yeah, and a lot of times you'll leave your ones alone because you kind of feel like they're on autopilot. But Stein Metzger hustled over to talk with his McNamaras as they called that timeout.
Your ones pairs seem to be the most experienced, most knowledgeable, but sometimes they just need, hey, somebody else's point of view, especially the twins. You know, you tend to get hard on each other. I coach a young pair of twins who are very hard on each other. And, you know, you just need somebody to kind of straighten them out, get them refocused on the next play.
I mean, case in point, Kelly Clays and Sarah Hughes, who you'll see again later on for USC's top pair, they won 103 straight. The one that they lost, finally, Dane Blanton was telling us, we weren't with them when that way. You see them win the first set, you walk away, you come back after set 2, what happened? And at that point, you know, things have already gone off the rails a little bit, especially in the wind that they were playing in.
Yeah, 30-mile-per-hour winds in Manhattan Beach, and the pair from St. Mary's was on fire in the wind.
Meanwhile, on court number 3, Van Winden and Zappia, Devlin, and Manley, 20 all
Van Winden and Zappia were down by 4 or 5 points and have battled back.
I'm here. You're there. No one.
Now it's up 1, Devon and Manley, but tied up again, extra points in set number 2. Of course, Devon and Manley need to win this set in order to push it to a 3rd set.
Did you see that shot by Elise Zappia? She
did.
was in a fiddle, in trouble, hits deep middle.
I'll never forget it now.
Good.
So tied up at 21 there. Meanwhile, on the 4 pairs court, similar situation as the set is winding down.
Mine. Let's do here. Left.
UCLA and Jordan Anderson turns it away, and so Anderson and Carey put the first point of the duel on the board for UCLA with a 2-set win over Arizona's Mia Mason and Brooke Burling.
That 4 pair for UCLA was the only team to come away with a victory versus USC last Saturday.
And on court number 1, the Wits still battling back within 2.
McNamara's up by 2. Little cushion. All they need is one side out.
Significant here because whoever loses this match has to play again tonight. I believe it's tonight, yeah. And then the other one gets a rest. You can rest until tomorrow. So a trip to the contenders bracket or a rest. Well, for the McNamaras, it will be a straight sets sweep over the Wits. And UCLA leads this duel 2-0.
And this was a little bit expected just in terms of UCLA has had a really strong season, 2nd in the country, and really a lot of depth for UCLA this year.
Pair 3 still battling it out. Van Winden and Zappia 1 point away for UCLA winning the duel. And this is where the team aspect comes in. Van Winden just pokes it towards the line, and Van Winden and Zappia, another straight set win for them as UCLA wins the duel over Arizona.
Thank you.
But we're going to keep covering the action, taking a look at the 5 pairs. We have not visited them yet. Haley Amaro, Natalie Anselmo for Arizona, and Lily Justine and Savvy Simo for UCLA.
Hallie Amaro and Natalie Anselmo won the first set. Now Lily Justine and Savvy Simo have a chance to win this 2nd set and push it to 3.
So Holly, UCLA has already won the duel. The significance, though, in these remaining matches in terms of going forward.
Confidence, chemistry as a team. Savvy Simo back in the lineup with, working back from a back injury. It's important for them to get confidence and work well together and be able to finish matches. I mean, UCLA, their goal is the NCAA championship.
Take your time.
And a Pac-12 championship, of course.
Oh, that first.
As well, USC, the defending Pac-12 champions. UCLA has made a big jump in terms of depth in just the last year.
Savvy Simo, just such a competitor. I've seen her over the years. She's been competing on the beach for a long time, winning tournaments. She contributes to on the indoor team as well as a defensive specialist, but she knows how to compete on the beach at a very high level. Could probably be 1 through 3 for any other program.
Simo's hat off. Sun's gone. That's no big deal. Anselmo has that fall just a little bit short in front of her.
Natalie Anselmo, another player who's grown up on the beach. Her father was a beach pro, great competitor. And Hallie Amaro, who's suffered a lot of injuries during her career at Arizona, but finally healthy and able to compete at 5s for Arizona. She's a good blocker at the net.
Kevin Wong said his first beach partner, John Anselmo.
Yeah.
Very small community.
2nd missed serve in a row by Hallie Amaro at the end of the 2nd set when they have a chance to shut down Lily Justine and Savvy Simo. You cannot do that.
Yeah, it's tough. Amaro has been at Arizona for 5.5 years. It's a long time to be at the university. And Anselmo finding a great spot.
Good execution. Natalie Anselmo has some really strong shots. I saw her earlier this season, and she was hitting too much and making too many errors. Now she's moving it around the court better.
Simo cuts. Anselmo up and cuts even sharper.
Good dig, nice transition cut shot. Now up by 1. Match point for Arizona.
Amaro and Anselmo looking to put a point on the board. UCLA has already won the duel, but for Amaro and Anselmo, the unity that this could create, they're going to play again tonight versus Stanford a little bit after 7 o'clock.
Good timeout from UCLA. Try and ice this Arizona team and regroup so they can side out and push this to extra points, possibly push a third set.
Of course, great action here. Pac-12, such a strong conference. When you take a look at the AVCA Women's Beach Volleyball poll, Pac-12 well represented.
For sure, USC, UCLA, the top 2 teams in the country. Last year when the NCAA, the 8 teams were selected, they took 3 from the West, 3 from the East, and 2 at large. So if you look at the rankings, and I'm not including RPI, strength of schedule, because that's a secondary factor, you'd have USC, UCLA, Pepperdine representing the West. You'd have Florida State, possibly LSU, Georgia State, or Florida International representing the East, and then Long Beach and Hawaii most likely grabbing those at-large bids.
Yeah, Long Beach State missed out last year on the NCAA championship because they scheduled the top 5 teams 11 times, ended up under 500. They're not going to have that issue this time. Meanwhile, with tremendous action here back on the court, tied up at 23 apiece in the second set for the 5 pairs. Anselmo doing all the hitting and saying 5-6, don't care.
I love it. Hallie Amaro, Lily Justine, the blocker for UCLA, needs to stay on that tight set, but Natalie Anselmo answered that question with a hammer.
Amaro pulling off the block. Simo hits her way. Anselmo, big set. One blocker up, sees the court so beautifully, does Anselmo, and Arizona, a 2-set win over Justine and Simo.
That's a good win at 5s for Arizona. And finally, they get a point on the board for the Wildcats.
Arizona refusing to be swept. It's UCLA's win in this duel, but for Anselmo and Amaro, a great chance to fight off adversity and take that into the later match today.
And that's a new team that's kind of battled into the lineup. There was injuries, and now they're having success at 5 for Arizona, and that's important.
One more match still happening here on the 2s. The Olivias, Halloran and McDonald facing Tan and Yeomans of UCLA. Split 1 set apiece. Third set, we remind you, it only is to 15 points.
And Arizona's been testing the freshman Maddie Yeomans at 6'feet. She's the less experienced one. Likes to shoot the ball around, and the size of Olivia McDonald at the net has really been putting the pressure on the Bruins.
Pounding off, and a good close of the block.
Well, it was interesting. Maddie Yeomans pushed over with her arms, but turned her head like she was missing the ball. Fortunately for her, she was pressed over the net for the block.
Service error. For Halloran and McDonald, a similar situation, after dropping the second set in spectacular fashion, really 21-10. A chance to right the ship because they will be playing again later tonight against Stanford.
Coach Steve Walker talked about Olivia Halloran, number 32, the defender for this Arizona team. She had a just amazing indoor career, played at a very high-level club with Kalia Lanier, the freshman of the year in the Pac-12, and her work ethic has really helped turn her into the biggest surprise on their program.
been a little bit of a sprinkle in Tucson. Did you feel that?
I did not feel that.
Maybe it was you spitting. I don't know.
I was not spitting. Thank you. It's too dry for me to spit.
Chasing it down right into the upper stance. Tan does not make that move.
Olivia McDonald gets her feet to the ball. Good offensive high contact to put that ball away from Arizona.
Call is left. She cuts. Or cross court, maybe that's what she said. Couldn't hear her.
Well, I like the aggressive approach by Maddie Yeomans. Usually she just gets there and uses her length, shoots it around, but this time accelerates the arm, hits that aggressive angle. That's actually right.
Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, as she was calling it, that's why I said left. She hit right, and so I thought, well, maybe she either didn't listen or...
Sometimes it's code.
Code, okay.
And then there's those players that always hit the opposite of what you say.
Yeah. Well, I'd hate to speculate because I kind of did.
Maddie Yeomans gets this ball to drop off the tape. That's a break for UCLA, up by 2 in this third set. Race to 15. What a swing from Olivia McDonald. Out of system, way off the net from the middle of the court, finding that deep middle kill for Arizona.
Yeomans and Tan with the slimmest of leads. It's a race to 15. Pulling out the pause for a beautiful hand set. Tan happy with the way that worked out.
Camila Tan really confident in her hand setting and delivering some beautiful sets to freshman Maddie Yeomans.
Tan now back to serve. Experience, the leader on this team. Touches 10 feet. Into the net it goes.
Pressure's on right now. UCLA has the opportunity to side out right here for the match.
Steinmetzger likes having the senior guiding the freshman. Steve Walker looks confident in his little live, big live. Great hand set. Just wide. Wow.
What a dig by Halloran. Good idea. Just hit a little wide for Arizona.
UCLA wins the duel 4-1. Arizona will play Stanford later today. But what a win as the Wildcats fighting very hard.
Arizona really pushed UCLA. The score doesn't really indicate it, but there were times when Arizona was leading in the sets and UCLA responded, and that was a good test for UCLA.
Steinmetzger with a big smile, and so UCLA will stay in the winner's bracket. We'll get a nice rest and come back and play tomorrow. A 4-1 win over Arizona. Meanwhile, coming up next, the top team in the nation, the defending NCAA champion and Pac-12 champion, USC, facing Arizona State. Sean Fallowfield of UCLA celebrating with Tans and Yeoman. We're going to take a short break, just 10 minutes, and then you will see the top team in the nation and the top pair in collegiate volleyball. Kelly Clays and Sarah Hughes will take to the sand next. UCLA will rest and enjoy the victory. And more beach volleyball coming up in 10 minutes. Get a stretch, get something to drink, and meet us back here.
Crayons.